We'll start with Mangalacharan. Namo Arhantaram, Namo Siddharam, Namo Airiyadam, Namo Uvachayadam, Namo Yoge Saprasadam. Mangalam Bhagavan Viro, Mangalam Gautamo Gani, Mangalam Kunda Kundatyo, Jain Dharmostu Mangalam, Sarva Mangalya Mangalyam, Sarva Kalyana Karikam, Pradhanam Sarva Dharmanam, Jainam Jayatu Shasanam, Jainam Jayatu Shasanam, Jainam Jayatu Shasanam. मोक्षमार्गस्य नेतारं भेत्तारं कर्म भूभृतां ज्ञातारं विश्वतत्त्वानां वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये वन्दे तद्गुणलब्धये. Okay, so first of all, Uttam Shah, Michami Dukkadam to everybody. After so long we meet. How were your holidays, vacations, and everything? Soham, Jia, Adi, Kripaji, how has it been?
Yeah, they were good.
Okay, so just one question. Could you recall, can you recall anything what we studied, what we discussed while we last met, like about Jainism, how we began with? So let's quickly do this one exercise. I would want you to suggest me the topics that we discussed about. Okay, so I'll just keep on typing them. If you can tell me one by one, what exactly is it that we discussed in our last discussions? Yes, let's start with Adi. Adi, the topics that we learned about, let's say, like what all did we discuss in our first session?
First or last?
I mean, overall, the whole bunch of classes.
Karma.
Okay, karma was the last topic that we discussed. Okay, karma. What else did we discuss? So, how many types of karma, if you can recall?
8.
Eight is the bifurcation. Is there like major bifurcation? Firstly, can we divide them firstly into two? Right? Anybody can recall the names of those two karmas? There are two types of karmas.
Ghati and Agati.
Ghatya and Aghatya karma, right? Ghatya and Aghatya, excellent. And then these two are further divided into 4 each. So 4 Ghatya karmas and 4 Aghatya karmas. That brings down the total number of karmas to 8. Very good. What other topic? One topic was karma that we learned. Yes. What other topics? Yes, Jia?
Dravya.
Yes. Then we learned about the 6 substances or dravyas, right? Before learning about the 6 substances, did we also discuss about the structure of a dravya, structure of a substance? Can you recall? What was the structure of a dravya? We learned one of the sutras from scripture written by Acharya Uma Swami Dev. It's called the Twar Sutra. Yes. What like dravya is a substance, right? So how do we define what is a substance? What does a substance have? Soham, like the properties of a substance.
The 5 senses. So like
Senses. Okay.
Or just maybe like
we learned
color.
about 5 senses though. We call them 5 indriyas, right? So we have indriya, which we call 5 senses. Can we quickly have the names of these 5 senses? Yes? Yes, Soham. Names of these 5 senses.
So sight, smell, touch,
Sight,
taste.
smell, touch, then?
Taste and sound.
sound, right? Is there any sequence that we follow while we learn in Jainism? The sequence of senses? Can you recall? Adi, can you recall the sequence in which we learn the five senses? Yes, like which sense should we name first?
Is it hearing?
Sorry?
Like hearing sound.
Hearing is the first one you're saying. Okay, the sense of sound. Should it be the first one? Okay, which one should be second?
Sight.
Sense of sight. Okay, third,
Smell.
sense of smell. Okay, fourth,
Taste.
sense of taste. And then last one,
Touch.
sense of touch. So is who agrees with Jia? Like is it the sequence of five senses according to Jainism? The first sense is sense of sound, second one is sense of sight, third one is sense of smell, fourth one is sense of taste, and fifth one is sense of touch. Is it the right sequence? Adi, do you concur with your sister? Is it?
I didn't.
You do not, then what is the sequence according to you? Let's hear it from you.
No, I didn't know the sequence.
Then how do you know that it's not the correct one? Yeah, doesn't sound like. Yeah. Yeah, so do you have any clue? Like how can we sequence it?
I think it's right.
It's wrong. So what is right according to you?
No, I said I think it's right.
It's right. Oh, you think it's right. Okay. So what I'll tell you, the Jaina perspective is more or less like theory of evolution. You have heard about theory of evolution? Can you tell me how the theory of evolution works? The Darwin's theory of evolution. You must have read about it in your schools, right? I'm not sure if you have already read about it or not, but I assume that you have heard about it at least, right? You know, human beings were not human beings before, they were monkeys and chimpanzees. Have you heard about it? So they are our ancestors. They feel like they are like. Can you believe this fact that we were once upon a time, our ancestors were our great grandparents were not humans. They were monkeys or chimpanzees or some sort of animals. Do you believe that it should be the case? Is it a possibility? It could be. Okay. And like, what were monkeys' great grandparents? So monkeys' great grandparents cannot be monkeys then, because humans' great grandparents are not humans, they are monkeys. So the monkeys' great grandparents will be something else. And that somebody else's great grandparents would be something else because they're constantly evolving. Right? Yes or no? Yes or no? That's how it should work. That's how it should work. But does it work like this? So in Jainism, we tweak it. We change the theory of evolution. We call it as the theory of five senses. So just like the science says, is the first form of life was in the form of a very microorganism which had only single cell. Similarly, we also says that okay, the very first life of origin that we can trace is the organisms having the sense of touch. Jia has told us the right sequence, but in a totally opposite way. So yes, if I say which sense is the most important one, so it's sense of sound, that is the ears. They are the proof of our superficial evolution. That okay, we have arrived. Now we can even hear to it, whatever is the sound is nature around us is making, right? So yes, sense of sound is the primary sense organ that is the proof that okay, we have evolved, right? But when I'm looking from the perspective of Genesis, when I'm trying to find the very first evidence of life, then I'll have to take the bottom up approach. The first sense organ would be the sense of touch. That's how the one cell organism, single cell organisms take birth. You know, the bacteria in a body, the amoeba, they all only have one sense organ, that is the sense of touch. When you have sense of touch and you want to still evolve, then the next thing you need is a bigger body. And to sustain that bigger body, you need to have the power to consume. right? To eat so that you can feed it and you can, just make it grow. So therefore, the second sense organ works like the sense of taste, the tongue that we have, so that we can feed ourselves and grow, right? So first you get a body, but that body is self-sustaining because it does not need much. It just, it just feeds on somebody else's body. So such is the case of one-sensed organisms, one-sensed jivas. So that is the sense of touch. That is the primary sense organ. Next one is when you have a bigger body, you need to sustain it. To sustain it, you need to have, you cannot be dependent on others. You have to be self-dependent so that you know how to feed yourself and keep this body growing. So that is the second source of energy and the second stage of evolution. It is the sense of taste. The third one is when you can taste your food, it becomes very important that you can actually smell your food as well. Because without, if you cannot have the aroma of that food, there is no luxury in enjoying it, right? The taste is not enough. So, what if we could not smell our food that we eat? I think most of the things we first smell and then we eat if we do not know about that food item because we need to see before eating it that whether we'll be able to eat it or not. So, just a single advancement, an update on sense of taste. So, it's kind of an update. So, we have that update as now whatever we have eaten, we can actually smell it as well. So that is the third organ called sense of smell, right? The touch is called in Sanskrit Sparshan Indriya. The taste is called Rasna Indriya. And the smell is called Ghrana Indriya, Ghrana, the nose. No, am I audible?
Yes.
Really sorry, I think internet just went off.
Okay.
Yes. Dia, Adi, Soham, are you there? Still, you can hear me? Yeah, yeah. So four senses we talked about. The sense of touch was first. We called it a Sparshan Indriya. Sense of taste, we called it Rasna Indriya. Then we had third one was which one? Sense of smell. We called it Ghrana Indriya. And then we have fourth one, whatever we are perceiving, whatever we are feeling, can we also see it? So the sense of sight. So the next upgrade was that we have eyes as well. So we call it chakshu. We call it chakshu. Chakshu means eyes. Last upgrade is the sense of sound or hearing. We can hear. We call it karna. Okay, understood. So this is, if somebody asks you what is the Jaina philosophy of evolution, so you can tell everybody that, okay, in Jainism, we see the bodies evolving based on the types of senses that they have. So there are five types of organisms. One-sensed organisms, they only have body. That means they have only sense of touch. Then they get upgrade and they become two-sensed organisms like earthworms. Have you ever seen earthworms? They feed on the soil, right? So they have only two senses. They have their body and they can eat, but they cannot see, they cannot hear, they cannot smell. So they're called two-sensed organisms. Then they get a little upgrade, they become three-sensed organisms. They get additional sense organ as nose. So have you seen ants, right? So they smell real quickly the sweets in the house and they get attracted towards the sweet things because they have very strong sense of smell, but they cannot see, they do not have eyes. So you do this thing, you put your finger just on the path of one ant and it will touch your finger. It cannot see and change its way. It will touch your finger and then it will change the way because it cannot see. So it does not have sense of sight, but it has sense of smell, right? So if you have something in your hand which is injurious to that ant, it will turn its way because it can smell danger from your finger. So it will not come near you, but it cannot see your finger, correct? So the ants are three-sensed organisms, right? One-sensed organism is what? Like bacterial cells, amoeba, all these cells, right? Two-sensed organisms like earthworm, all types of lut, we call them. Then three-sensed organisms like ants, these are the example. Four-sensed organisms. Can you name four-sensed organisms? Any of the four-sensed organisms?
Is it animals that can fly? Are they?
Yes, yes. So can we say, I don't know what we call the black bee? What do we call it? Bhora, black bee. Or, all these flies, mosquitoes, right? All these flies, they have the sense of sight as well. So they become four Indriya Jivas. And then five Indriya Jivas are, we all are like lion, cow, monkeys, humans, devas, narkis. All these organisms are full grown organisms, five sensed organisms. We call them Panchendriya. Now, there is one more tweak to this. The five sensed organisms can also be divided into two ways. Do they have the mana, the power to think as well, or do they not have mana? So in Jainism, we call them Sangi and Asangi. The jivas who can think on themselves, think about their own benefit. They have five senses, but there are few jivas who cannot think for their own benefit. They cannot think about the life. Why did I take birth? What should I do so that life becomes easy? They're not able to. They just can't think about it. They are called asangi. They do not have mana. Mind, what we call mana. They do not have mana. So mind is now, it's not a visible sense organ, just like eyes and ears are. But man is something is not right when you get it intuitively. So from where do you get to know about it? We are having constant thoughts. What am I going to do tomorrow? What did I do wrong in the exam? So you're constantly thinking about it. Means your mind is working, right? That mind is mana. With mana, we have all sorts of imagination. The ideas flow through our head. All these things are the work of mana. So in Jainism, it's called sixth sense organ, right? Have you seen that film, Sixth Sense? The Sixth Sense, right? There are so many theories in psychology as well talking about the sixth sense, but they talk in the context of intuition. We are not talking in the context of intuition. We are saying that we can think. That thinking ability is called mana. And there are few jivas who cannot think. So they are called asangi. Understood? Yes? So this is the sequence of five senses. I think we all must remember this sequence so that it will become very easy for us to tell somebody what Jainism actually believes in the types of types of lives or types of beings. Okay, fine. So you have told me that we learned about the 8 karmas. We learned about the 6 substances. Sorry?
No, I was just going to say a good way that I find to remember these senses is if you go up, like you touch, taste, smell, eyes, and ears. So it's that sequence.
Oh, wow. That's the easier way to say it, right? So sense of touch, taste, then smell, sight, and hear, sound. Perfect. That's easier than anything then. Fine. Okay, next. So we learned about 8 karmas. We learned about 6 substances. While talking about substances, I took this route and we learned about the senses as well. Now I want to know how do you define a substance? Can you tell me what a substance is? Anybody? We learned about substances, right? Yes. Anybody?
It's something with a collection of qualities.
Yes. So what were the qualities that a substance had?
stitva, that they exist. They don't change. The quality doesn't change from one quality to another, or one
Yes,
substance to
yes,
another.
yes. So those were the common properties that they had. But I'm talking about the whole structure of substance. What all does a substance contain? So first thing you just said that a substance has qualities, correct? So we can write that a substance has quality. What do we call quality in Hindi or Sanskrit? If you can remember, recall, we call it guna, right? We learned about the gunas, right? The quality or attributes. So quality or attributes are called gunas. So in substance, there are gunas. And then how does this quality work? These qualities, how do they work? What do we call the work done? So a substance can be defined as the bundle of qualities, right? Is equal to bundle of qualities. Correct? Fine. That would be the definition of a substance. Let's say this is the bundle of quantity. This is substance. But this quality, how do you get to know about? See, if there is a sugar box in my kitchen, and in that box the sugar is kept, how do I know that sugar is sweet? How do I know it? So, how do I know that sugar is sweet?
Because it tastes sweet.
Yeah, so whenever you taste it, it always tastes sweet, right? So the sweetness is always working, right? But you just want to see that, okay, so when I'm putting it on my tongue, then it is sweet, fine. But when it is inside the box, is it sweet or not? Is
Yeah,
it?
it's so sweet.
Are you sure it is still sweet? See, when it's on my tongue, it's sweet because I can taste it. But when it is put inside the box, is it still sweet?
Yeah, because it's a permanent quality.
Yeah, so the sweetness is so its sweetness is working inside the box or not? Its sweetness is working when it is put on my tongue.
Yeah.
But when it is kept inside the box, all capped, is it still sweet? Is it working? Does its sweetness still work? Yes. Yes, it still
Yeah.
works. The moment you take it and put it on your tongue, you can taste it that it's still tasting sweet, means it's working constantly. Yes or no? Yes, so this work done by the attributes, work done by the attributes is called Paryay. Yes? Do you remember the modes, the different forms that a substance takes? So that's what we learned about. We saw this structure, how a dravya is made. So dravya is nothing. Dravya is nothing. What a dravya is nothing. Dravya, substance, is the summation of its gun, and paryay means the work done by the attribute. So gun is attribute, paryay is the work, the modes, the forms it takes, and the substance is the collection of these two. Understood? So that is the basic structure of any substance. So this is a substance, okay? So what is this? This is a pen. How do you define a pen? Based on the qualities. What are the qualities that by a pen you can write letters? And it is a blue pen, it has blue ink, so you can write letters in ink blue. You can hold it, you can touch it, you can switch, like you can just open it and refill its ink. You can do all these sorts of things. These are the qualities of that substance. But to taste it, if I'm about to write it on a paper, can I still do it? Yes, I can write it. It writes, the ink works. That is the work. That is called paryay. So qualities are what it can do, and paryay is how it does it. Correct? Yes or no? Understood? So what is the structure of a substance? Substance is one machine. The gunas are the software of that machine. And by paryay, we access that machine. Correct? We make it to our use. Understood? Okay. So there are 6 types of substances. That's what we learned while we were discussing in the last term. So I would want to know the names of those 6 substances. What are the names of those 6 substances? Yes, who's going to tell me the first one?
Jeev.
Jiva, the knower, right? The one who knows. Second. Yes, Soham.
Ajiv.
Ajeev. Okay, I'll write Ajeev, but then Ajeev is a wider term. We have to further divide. See, what is Ajeev? Something that is not Jeev, right? Who is a non-Jain? Somebody who is not Jain, but that non-Jain person can be a Muslim, he can be Christian, he can be Hindu, he can be Sikh, he can belong to so many different regions, right? So when you're saying that he is not Jain, you're not defining who he is. You
Yeah.
should rather say he is a Christian, right? When you're saying that he is not British, then who he is? He's Indian, he's American. Who is he? You have to specify. So the second substance is not Ajeev. Ajeev is a generic term. You have to specify which one. Yes, Adi. Second substance.
Pudgal.
Pudgal. Pudgal. Can you define Pudgal? What a Pudgal is?
The substance.
Everybody is a substance. Shiva is a substance. Dharma is a substance. It's matter. So I am the knower and I am called Jiva, right? We all are Jivas, right? Yes. And this Jiva, through his 5 senses, senses of touch, senses of taste, senses of smell, sight, sound, we perceive things. What do we perceive? We perceive this matter. With our senses, we perceive Pudgal. With these senses, right? So I can touch it. Why? Because the Pudgal has Pudgal has the quality that it is touchable. I cannot touch soul because it does not have the quality that it can be touched. I cannot touch the sky. Can I touch the sky around me? I cannot because it does not have the property that it can be touched. But I can touch this remote because it has the quality to be touched. So the first quality of Pudgal is, okay, can I eat it? This is a paper. Can I eat it? I cannot. Did you not never eat a paper in your childhood? Like you're still in your childhood, but when you were younger than this, never did you put a piece of paper in your mouth? So good children you are. Wow. Did you ever taste the chalk? You know chalk? Chalk, what chalk is? I'm not sure. The white chalk with which we write on a blackboard. Have you ever tasted it? Have you ever eaten soil? Mitti, we call it in Hindi. Never. Oh, you should have, like, it's too late now to taste it, right? But in our childhood, we used to taste these things and they really taste very nice. You know, there is an addiction of eating chalks in the Indian children, right? I'm not sure, but ask your parents, they must have tasted it in their childhood, right? If they were in India during their childhood. So, right?
We are deprived children here.
Yeah, okay. Uh, well, but it's too late now. You cannot taste it because it's not at all healthy. But you know, everything I can taste it. You must have tasted these pencil that you have. You know, from the back of the pencil. You know, people, children have this habit of chewing the pencil, the wood that it is, right? So every object, even if there is a key made up of iron, if you put it in your tongue, it has certain type of taste. The iron has a taste, the gold has a taste, silver has a taste, paper has a taste, plastic has some sort of taste. Though it's not eatable, it cannot be eaten, but it has certain type of taste. So the matter has this quality of having taste. Okay? Then also everything has certain kind of order, right? Every matter contains its own unique smell, odor. So that is a smell, and we can clearly see it. So it has color for sure, right? So these are the four properties of Pudgal, right? This is what we already have learned. We're just revising everything so that it becomes easy for you guys to give a short quiz that we are going to have this week. Okay? So this is the whole summary of whatever we discussed about in the last session. So touch can be called as spurge, and spurge is sensed by the sparshan indriya, the sense of touch. Spurge is the quality, and this quality is accessed by sparshan indriya, the sense. Correct? Taste is the rasa. Ras is accessed by rasna indriya. Okay? Smell is smell is gandh, and gandh is accessed by ghan indriya, and color is varn. And varn means colors. Varn is accessed by chakshu indriya. So these are the four qualities which make the matter what matter is. Okay, what are those four qualities? You understood about these four qualities? So it directly takes, it owes its origin to whom? It owes its origin to the five senses. Okay, is there any sense organ? Is there a quality of sound in the matter? Can it produce sound? Does it have the quality of sound in it? Can it produce sound? It can produce sound. It can. If I do this, can you hear the sound it is making? Yes? Can you hear the sound it is making? It can produce sound, but not alone. They're talking about the qualities that it can perform independently. Is it possible for this pen to produce sound standalone without the help of another obstruction? Can it do it? It cannot. So sound requires collision. It requires accident. When two people collide, the sound originates. I can make sound with two fingers, but with one finger, with one palm, I cannot make sound. So sound requires the collision. It requires accident. Correct? Therefore, sound is not the quality of matter. It is the accident of two matters. Therefore, it is not calculated as the basic quality of a matter. Yes, Kirpachi, you're
I
asking
just
something.
wanted to ask, I don't know if this is right, but is sound itself a Budgal particle? Like,
Yeah,
can you
the
say no?
sound is not Pudgal particle. It's not Pudgal atom. So Pudgal has two types. This is not something that we have discussed in our previous session, but I'll just tell you. So how many types of Pudgal are there? So Pudgal can be divided into two ways. The first one is called atom. Atom means Paramanu. How we in our schools learn about atom? Can you define what is atom? You must have read it in your science books. Yes, Gia, what is an atom? How do you define it?
It's like one particle of a element.
Yeah, so it's the smallest unit of an element that cannot be broken down into further parts. So that undivided unit, which cannot be divided into further, you cannot just break it into two. So that undivisible unit of matter, the smallest unit of matter is called atom. That's called Parmanu in Jainism. And what else? The other part is called Skandha, or we call it body. So the collection of atoms is called skand. Okay. So how the sound originates? Atom does not have power to make sound. But when skandhas means collection of atoms, this is collection of atoms. This is not one atom. One atom is very tiny little object. It cannot be seen with our eyes. It's very tiny little particle, right? Because if it is visible with our eyes, we can break it. Correct? So matter, that matter which cannot be divided into further parts is called atom. And when you all those atoms consolidate, one object comes into existence. Okay? Hello? Okay. So this is called skand. This is a skand. This body is a skand. It is the collection of many small atom particles. This pen came into existence because of many small plastic particles. They all consolidated and one object became. Right? So all that we see is a skand. All that we see is a skand. We do not see a atom particle. When these skand, one skand body collides with other skand body, the sound gets produced. That sound in itself is the paryay of pudgal. Therefore, it is again pudgal only. But standalone single pudgal cannot make it. So it does not function as guna. It functions as paryay. So Shabd has its paryay, its form. But how did it originate? There is no Shabd attribute in a Pudgal Dravya. Okay, understood? So there is no quality like, I have color. So color is the quality that I have, but I do not have sound as my quality. When the air coming out of my mouth, it hits the teeth, the tongue, and the formation. The voice comes out. How do we speak? Constantly our teeth, our tongue, our what do we call all these parts inside the mouth, right? And the air that is flowing. All these things in their combination, they make sound to come out, right? So sound is the work of collision of many Pudgal Skandhas. Okay, but standalone, in Hindi we say it, ek haath se tali nahi bajti. You cannot clap using one hand, you have to have two hands. Similarly, one single Pudgal particle cannot make sound, and therefore there is no sound attribute in a Pudgal particle. But it's the extension of touch. It can be touched when they both meet, they'll have accident. I will never have an accident with the Akash. I cannot collide with Akash because it does not have sense of touch. When I cannot touch it, I cannot collide with it. So therefore, Shabd or the sound is nothing but the extension of the attribute of touch. We can call it that. Okay, fine. No, okay. So the second substance is called Pudgal. What should be the third substance? Quickly. Yes, Soham. Third substance.
Dharm.
Dharm. The full name of Dharm is Dharmastikaya. Big name. We can just learn it. Dharmastikaya. Okay, Dharm is the third type of substance. What does it do? What is the unique property of dharma?
Movement.
Yeah, it's medium of motion. So we can just write it medium of motion. So just like I cannot swim without water, I cannot move without dharma dravya. Understood? So dharma dravya is the medium of motion. Fine. The fourth one. Sorry, the fourth one. Fourth substance is adi.
Mastikaya. Adharmastikaya.
Adharmastikaya, opposite of dharma, adharmastikaya. So just like in a car, you have two things very important, two pedals in every car, whether automatic or manual. There are hello. I'm extremely sorry. I don't know what is the issue with the internet today. Can you hear me now? Yes. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. So we were talking about the dharma dravya and adharma dravya. So in a car, you must have seen there are two very basic pedals in every car. The first is accelerator, with which we give racing to the car, so the car moves. But what if the car only has accelerator? The problem would be that it will not know when to stop and how to stop. And then inevitably we'll meet an accident. So wherever there is an accelerator, there has to be a brake so that we can control the speed and we can put ourselves to rest as well. So wherever there is dharmastikaya, dharmadravya as medium of motion, it becomes inevitable, it becomes obvious that we also have adharma. We also have adharma as a dravya. Adharma dravya would be Adharma dravya is medium of rest. It makes us rest. It makes us stop. Therefore, we are sitting together for a discussion today because of adharma dravya. But despite sitting together, we are moving from here to there. We are making facial expressions. We're talking. Our hand movements are happening. Our eyes are blinking. All these activities, all these motions are happening because of dharma dravya. Understood? Yeah. And all this play is happening where? So Jiva is knowing, matter is being known, Dharma is letting Jiva and Pudgal roam around, and Adharma is making them rest. Where all this play is happening, it's happening in the huge, enormous space. We call it Akasha, the fifth substance. Akash is the fifth substance. Okay? And when is this all happening? It's happening in its own time. So the Kala is the sixth substance, right? So these are the six fundamental parts of this universe that combine to make this universe working. So we all are jivas, the knowers. This whole space, in this whole space, whatever the filling is, the buildings, the park, the trees, the animals, the beautiful things we see, the ugly things that we ignore, everything, everything is made up of Pudgal, matter. This jiva, along with this matter, this body, we both roam around in four gatis, and that is possible because of dharma dravya. We stay in a few of the gatis and do our daily activities is because of dharma and adharma dravya's combination. This all is happening in this huge space, akasha, and this all is happening in the defined time that is called kala. These are the six substances as told to us by the Kevli Bhagwan, Sarvagya Bhagwan. Fine. Any doubt about these things? I think this is very, very, very easy, and we all have learned it in great detail. But I am curious about if you know about the four types of gatis. Who can tell me the name of four types of gatis? Yes, okay, Soham, you name me two types of gatis first. Yeah. The first one,
Manushya Gati and Dev Gati.
Manushya Gati and Dev Gati. Oh, you chose the better ones. Yes. Adi, can you name other two types of gatis which are remaining?
Tiryanshpati.
Tiryanshkati and
Hmm.
Narakati. Okay. Which gati is better? Oh, I mean, which gati is ideal? Like we can spare some time and spend some vacations over there. Which one would you choose? Out of these four gatis, which is the happy place to go to? Gia.
Dev Gati and Manushya Gati.
Yeah, so you would like to go to Devgati or Manushya Okay. Why not Tiryanshkati?
Because there's more suffering there.
No, but I do not see any difference between human suffering and animal suffering in today's times. I mean, animals are better off than humans in today's times. They do not have to go to schools, complete their assignments, worry about their careers, admissions, the different suits they are facing, going to courts, going to jails, going to hospitals.
Manushya
Yeah.
Gati have the power to know, but Tiryansh don't.
Okay, the power to know self, right? And by knowing self, what will you do?
Get happiness.
Happiness. Where? Like, where will you find that happiness?
From within.
Within. And when you find happiness within, what happens to these gatis?
You'll leave them.
Yeah, and you become what?
You go to Siddhala.
yeah, you become Siddha, right? So ultimately, if you're saying that Manushya Gati and Dev Gatis are good because you can meet yourself in these Gatis, so the point is not that these Gatis are good. The meeting the self, to know thyself is good. So in Jainism, it is believed that all these four gatis are transmigratory and therefore none of these are habitable. We cannot afford to be living in any of these gatis. We have to break free from these gatis. So there is only one gati which is habitable, which is a good place to be in, and that's called Siddha Gati. And rest all the gatis are just mundane, and in whichever gati we end up, we just have to put an effort to know ourselves. And to know ourselves can be done in all the gatis. Even Narkis can know themselves. Even the Tiryanchas can know themselves. Even the Devas and Manushya can know themselves. So the doors to know yourself, to know within, are open in all the four gatis. So from that perspective, all the four gatis are good. But in Tiranchgati and Naragati, there are some harsh external conditions which make it difficult to realize self, and therefore they are not appreciated much. In Devgati, there is so much of goodness around, we just forget that we have to know within because we have so many good things, attractive things outside. So in Devgati, again, we get deluded. So Manushyagati is the one space where we have good balance of adversities and luxuries, which keeps us alarmed. And in Manushyagati, if we try enough, we can also have good deeds, we can have charitra, we can do some tapa, and we can break free from this cycle. We can take vairagya, we can be monks, we can be sadhu parmeshthi, upadhyay parmeshthi, acharya parmeshthi, and then later on arihant parmeshthi, and then siddh. All this is possible in Manushyagati. Therefore, Manushyagati is the precious of all the four gatis, the most precious one. Understood? But the which gati do we want to go to? It's not the four gatis, it's fifth gati, which is called Siddha Gati. Fine? Okay. Quickly, we also learned something about the five Parmeshthis, right? Can you tell me what all the five Parmeshthis are doing? Like, who is the supreme one? The five Parmeshthis are supreme one, or there is somebody else who is the supreme?
Sid is
Sorry?
Sid is supreme.
Yes, Siddha Bhagwan is so. What are the names of five Parmeshthis? Arihanta Parmeshthi, Siddha Parmeshthi, Acharya Parmeshthi, Upadhyaya Parmeshthi, and Sadhu Parmeshthi. Of these five Parmeshthis, you're saying Siddha Parmeshthis are supreme, right?
They're
Yes.
all supreme, but Sid is the best one to be.
They're all supreme in Siddhis. Okay, so we go down to which one? Arihantas or Siddhas or all the five?
All five.
Why do we go down to these five people, these five personalities? Chia, you have answered enough questions. I'll ask Adi this time to tell us. Why do we go down to five Parmeshthis, Adi?
Because we could become them.
Become what? Why do we want to become five Parmeshthis? What is
Attain more.
special? What is special that these five supreme beings hold, which is attainable, which should be attained? The special, unique quality that we are idealizing while we're looking to five Parmeshthis.
Gyan.
Gyan and
Happiness.
Gyan, happiness. Okay, so anything to add? The qualities which make these five adorable. So yes, Gyan and happiness is what Adi has told us. Yes.
I'm not really sure.
No, but like, why do we idealize? See, Arihanta, does he have money? Do Arihantas have money?
Oh, selflessness,
Sorry?
like selflessness.
Selflessness they have? Selflessness, can you give a better word to selflessness? I think they are not selfless. They're full of self. Right? They're not selfless.
Oh yeah,
They're full of
like aparigraha.
aparigraha. Can you give a better word to aparigraha? Very good. There is one beautiful word that is the crux of all this discussion. It's related to aparigraha. It's related to selflessness. It's one quality. You name that quality, and we'll just conclude today's class. Yes. Oh, why are we? See, Arihantas, do they have money? Arihantas,
No.
do they have money?
No.
Yeah, do they have no? Okay, sadhus, do they have like good, like trending, fashionable attire? Like, why do we idolize sadhus? What do they have? Do they have a good mention? Do they have some sort of position that they have influence on the politics of the continents, countries? What do they have? Why are we bowing down to these people? What do they have? They must be having something, that's why we idealize them. I want to know what are those qualities. Quickly, Jia, Adi, anybody?
What is it?
See, what is the root cause of our suffering? Why do we suffer? Okay, Adi.
Attachment.
What happened is I went to my school today and it was result day and I got 95% marks out of 100, 95% out of 100. That's excellent, excellent. But there was my best friend who always got about 10% less than me. So last year I got 94, he got 84. This year he got 98% marks. Will you be happy or sad?
Happy.
Both.
Both, yeah. Why both? Can you justify both?
Happy for him that he got high marks, but sad for yourself because
Why you got 95? You did not get less marks.
you didn't get the most.
Yeah, lesser than him, right? It's kind of right. So see, there is no point of sadness. There is no need to be unhappy looking at a result. But still, because of rag and dvesh, we make ourselves unhappy. These five parmeshtis are vitragi, and therefore they have lost all ways of being unhappy. They are happiest. Why? Because they do not have rag or dvesh. So it is because of their vitaragata, and because they're vitaragi, also they're omniscient, or we call them sarvagya. Sarvagya. So because of their vitarag, sarvagyata, vitarag vigyanta, we go down to these five parmeshtis. Okay, quickly what I'll do is I'll share one PPT with you guys. You can refer that PPT over the week. Next Sunday morning, we'll have a small quiz on whatever we have discussed. This is the major crux of it. The 8 karmas, the 6 substances, the common attributes. All that will be there in that book. We'll have that quick test and then we'll have a short discussion. The test will be of about 20-30 minutes. MCQs, very easy ones. You all will ace it. It will be very easy. And after that, we'll have discussion and then we'll start with some important subjects. This was the base. Now, on this base, we built the philosophy of Jainism and how it helps us in leading our lives in a much easier and better ways. Okay? Okay? So let's quickly do Jinvani Stuti and then we'll close the class. Join your hands, close your eyes. नीच निधि निच में बताई यह अनंत उपकार